On today's episode of the Cryptoverse, I have a metric ton of information to give you today, including an update on my Bitcoin Lightning Network experiments. Number two, potentially a new hardware wallet coming from Ledger. They're being very sketchy about it. Could be new Ledger Nano S with a bigger memory. Nah, that's just too good to be true. Number three, ETH are moving away from Amazon Web Services. That's brilliant news. Number four is an update on the Proof of Keys initiative, which is happening today. And number five is the free speech influencers of the world, the most famous ones actually, are now considering Bitcoin as the solution to their big payment problems because they're starting to get censored from the payment processors. So that's what I'm going to talk about with you today. If you want to get access to the private chat group with me and all of your fellow viewers, well, check out the website. It's thecryptoverse.show. If you click on the big blue button in the top right-hand corner and become a supporter, you'll get access to the private chat group where we talk about anything and everything to do with the show, topics and other topics that don't make it onto the show. So check that out. But for now, we're going to get into this content. So, number one, quick update on my experiments with the Bitcoin Lightning Network. It's working, right? This is all powered by BTC Pay Server open source software. I am my own payment processor in this regard. So first of all, thank you all for your help with this. After I put out a call yesterday for you folks with Lightning wallets to send me test transactions, you did it. About half a dozen of you actually did it. Thank you very much. And you did it successfully. So that proves that my system is actually working. So thank you very much for that. So here's the export from my BTC Pay server. Let's show you this. I've uploaded it to a Google spreadsheet. So here's all of the timestamps and everything. And I've colored these into on and off chain payments. So you can see here, here's all the off chain payments. And what's fantastic is if you measure these in US dollars, as some of you sent me a US penny's worth of Bitcoin, which is fantastic because that proves the point about feeless, almost feeless, that the fees are so small, like one Satoshi on the Lightning Network, you can afford to send me a penny tip. This is fabulous. And it's instantaneous, right? It's off chain. So transactions were off chain. And you can see here they're all Cryptoverse donations. There's a couple of people signing up for Cryptoversity membership there, and they were all successful. So I filtered out all the ones that a bunch of you tested out by generating an invoice, but didn't actually pay the invoice. But this lot, how many of them is there? There's a good, how many? There's actually 9 of you. So it's more than half a dozen. If you actually successfully sent me a Lightning payment. So I very, very much appreciate that. So thanks for that. Moving on from there, I'm not quite sure how to settle these payments, to be honest. Now they've all been sent to me via Lightning. They're locked up in a payment channel. I'm not sure how to get them out. But that's the next thing I'll figure out and then I'll let you know. But thank you very much nonetheless. On to the next story. Are we about to get a new and improved Ledger Nano S? Why do I say this? Well, you may have got this email yourself if you're on Ledger's mailing list, but check out the website. Look at this. It says right on the top banner, we've got big news anywhere you are. 3 days and 22 hours to go until they make some kind of announcement. So I've already stuck my email address in this box to get notified as soon as it is released. But look in the background. Look at this photo. This looks like it's a photo for those of you who listen to the podcast. There's a very sort of subtle, it looks like a Ledger Nano S, but it looks like a futuristic version. If you had a futuristic, more updated, more modern Ledger Nano S, the photo is almost like what it would look like. It looks like an Apple product, right? And then right underneath that, you've got a December 30% off Ledger Nano S, the old version. I'm assuming this is a new Ledger Nano S. Could this be it? Could this be the Ledger Nano S with a bigger memory module? That's the biggest pain in the bum, isn't it? For the Ledger Nano S, it just doesn't have a big enough memory. It's so frustrating having to install and uninstall apps. It's so frustrating that some people have actually started using Trezors and whatnot instead. But I've persevered with the Ledger Nano S. All they would have to do is bring out a Ledger Nano S2, and the only difference that the only thing they would need to add is more memory. And I would buy one instantaneously just on that feature alone. Don't know about you. Let me know in the comments below if that would please you very much. And also, place your bets in the comments below on YouTube or on DTube. What do you think this announcement is going to be? Do you think it's going to be a new Ledger Nano S? Do you think it's going to have a bigger memory? I hope so. All right, moving on from there. And let's see. ETH and Bitfinex are going to be down for a total of 7 hours on the 7th of January. Oh my goodness. Secret numerology Illuminati stuff hidden right in plain sight there. 7 and 7. What does that mean? Just kidding. Just a bit of entertainment value. But anyway, 7 hours. It's going to be down for 7 hours on the 7th of January. And I got this directly from the primary source. Boom. Over we go to Eth4next announcements. So there they say, this was actually a few days ago. It was the 29th of December. So at about 10 a.m. on the 7th of January 2019, exact timing to be confirmed, they will be performing a data migration. So up until this point, they've been hosting everything on Amazon Web Services infrastructure. Not ideal, because if the whole bloody world is hosting stuff on Amazon Web Services, that's a central point of failure. Yes. Amazon have got co-location and all that sort of stuff. That's not the type of centralization I'm talking about. I'm talking about centralization of power, not of technology, right? So Amazon could flip a switch and turn off all the apps in the world if they're all built on there. Don't want that. So moving to bare metal means that Eth4next and Bitfinex are now going to have their own servers that they own, and they're going to run their own system off of their own hardware. Good. I much prefer bare metal services wherever possible, but it's more complex, it's just easier to outsource it to Amazon and then let them send you a bill, but they've made the commitment to go full bare metal. Bear in mind, if you use Eth4next or Bitfinex, the whole system's going off. The wallets are going off, the features are going off, the whole thing is going off for 7 hours while they migrate all the data over. So your funds are safe, don't worry about that. However, while the system is off, all the markets will be closed, they'll be frozen, so there'll be no order execution. If you have orders on the books for buying or selling, they will just get frozen, and as soon as the system comes back to life, everything will resume as where it left off. Personally, if I were actively trading on Bitfinex or Eth4next, I would close all my trading positions beforehand, because otherwise there's almost going to be like a jump forward in time where all the prices suddenly have this 7-hour gap. So if I have an order in for $4,000 Bitcoin and it's at 3,700 when the Bitfinex goes offline, and then the price is 4,500 by the time it comes back on, the market's just going to go mental because all those orders are going to execute. So that's a big risk. The minute it comes back online, the price feed's going to start up again and everything's going to go crazy. So personally, number one rule of investing and trading is limit risk. So for me, that's too big a risk. To just suddenly have everything freeze, the price to move everywhere else for 7 hours, and then for suddenly Bitfinex and Eth4next to start up again. No, I just wouldn't do that. Anyway, what this does do is move Bitfinex and Eth4next up the decentralization scale, right? Because centralization, decentralization, it's a analog scale with fully centralized on one end and fully decentralized on the other. And all they're doing here is taking the little slider and notching it more towards decentralization. Actually, that was the wrong way, wasn't it? That way, towards decentralization. So good news all around for Bitfinex and Eth4next. On to the next story. Let's do a proof of keys update. Well, we're 12 hours in now. It's about 12 noon in the UK on the 3rd of January when we're doing this proof of keys situation. Pretty uneventful so far, to be honest. Let's have a look at the mempool. The mempool is the list of unconfirmed transaction on the Bitcoin network. What we got here, I'm looking at btc.com for you podcast listeners. There's this network status box that gives you all of the stats. And right here we have unconfirmed transactions right at this minute, just less than 5,000. And the mempool is just over 3.4 megabytes. So, not a lot of activity going on there. Very, very, very interesting, isn't it? That very, very interesting. Now, you may have heard this already, but there's this sort of FUD going around about HitBTC, the exchange, supposedly freezing people's accounts and blah, blah, blah. John McAfee is a big hater of HitBTC. He's, in no uncertain terms, said that they're insolvent or they're unethical or fraudsters or blah, blah. That's his own speculation. The thing is, FUD does spread fast, So I cannot verify whether HitBTC are freezing accounts or not. There is just a bunch of people on Reddit saying, they've frozen my account. No official response from HitBTC on Twitter, though. You can look at their account. There's no tweets in the last 2 days. So, at least address the FUD, will you? You know what I mean? But anyway, it could just be a massive coincidence. I mean, exchanges freeze people's accounts sometimes, for other reasons. It just might be a massive coincidence. And it just might be that people are putting 2 and 2 together and thinking that this person's account that got frozen for a perfectly legitimate reason, people are now projecting onto that and saying, oh my God, it's because they're insolvent, it's because of proof of keys. It's just probably bad timing, So that's that. All right, so there's this other thing going around. You can hashtag proof of keys on Twitter if you want to follow the discussion. So here's hashtag proof of keys on Twitter. Since I last refreshed this, there's 24 new tweets. And so let's see what people are saying. You can just scroll down this, and here's a Hit BTC article. I think that's not an English person, but check that out. You can just follow the discussion and see how people are feeling. Trace Mayer also tweeted out about hashtag proof of Roger, because you may have seen this from way back in the day when Mt. Gox was still online. There's this 45-second prose from Roger Ver, who's sort of looking at camera, but he's clearly reading it. And he goes on for about 45 seconds, basically in no uncertain terms saying that he's seen bank statements and lawyers' letters and bankers' letters giving him absolute confidence that Mt. Gox is solvent, which turned out not to be true. And the thing is, you can tell he's reading it in that clip, so I'm not quite sure what that is about, but that just doesn't look good. Either Roger was scammed, right, with fake documents or something, or he wasn't very diligent in the scrutiny of those documents. Don't know. But anyway, in the end of the day, it's like a case of don't trust, verify. Don't believe anything anyone says. Don't believe anything Roger Ver says. Don't believe anything even Trace Mayer says. Trace is saying that proof of keys is the ultimate, right? Even if Trace Mayer came out and said, don't worry about it, Kraken is completely solvent, I don't care. I absolutely don't care. The whole point about Trace Mayer doing the proof of keys celebration is that Kraken are going to be put on the hook as well, right? Which he is an investor in. One thing we could do is do a proof of SegWit thing. So people getting confused and thinking that they have to prove that they own the keys for their own Bitcoin, which isn't what it's about. It's more about holding third parties accountable. Anyone who has custody of some of your Bitcoin, it's about removing it to prove they have it. But what about proof of SegWit, where we could just take Bitcoin we have in our own private wallets and then sign a transaction? So you don't have to send any money, just create a digital signature based on a SegWit address to prove that you've got your Bitcoin in a SegWit address. So you could do that very easily with no burden on the blockchain, and it will be a proof of SegWit situation, because we're still only 40 or 50% of the network on SegWit transactions. So I did a little test with KuCoin yesterday. I happened to have like $500 of Bitcoin on there, and I requested the withdrawal. It took about less than 60 seconds from me confirming the withdrawal, when I got the confirmation email, to actually appearing in my Exodus wallet. It was just boom, like that. So that's spot on. I mean, it was a small amount of money, but they passed. So right on the eve of proof of keys, that almost rhymes a little bit, then KuCoin passed. So good on them. Kudos. All right, final story for today. This is a bit of a longer one. Free speech money. Do you remember a couple of weeks ago when I made this video? Here's my feed from, actually just typed in the Cryptoverse Gab, because 2 weeks ago I put this video out with my Christmas hat on saying, we can reverse the crypto bear market. That was a quote from Gab. And they termed Bitcoin free speech money because Gab, the social network, had all manner of payment processes shut down. PayPal banned them, Stripe banned them, banned all the bans, right? Well, they ultimately, even I think it was Coinbase shut their account down as well, so they couldn't even use Coinbase as a crypto payment processor, which really kind of adjusted my perspective. I'm like, oh my God. If you've watched the Cryptoverse Origins dramatic story video, you'll see that where I'm like, hang about, BitPay and Coinbase Commerce and even CoinPayments.net and all those folks, they are centralized payment processors. Yes, they might be processing cryptocurrency transactions, but the central authority, they could just close your account and cut off the flow of crypto payments. We can't have this. So that led Gab to set up a BTC Pay server, and that then set me on the path to set up my own BTC Pay server because it opened my eyes. So thanks to Gab for that. So that's the setup. Now, I emailed Jordan Peterson shortly after that because he's a big free speech advocate, right? And he's going to be in the crosshairs as well, right? So I got no response from Jordan Peterson's people. Now I know why. Here we go. Over to YouTube once again. So if you search Dave Rubin on YouTube, it's Dave Rubin, Dave Rubin from the Rubin Report. Yesterday, they put out this video. It's called "We Are Leaving Patreon." Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson announcement. This is very, very interesting. So they have consciously decided, due to a whole bunch of controversy around Patreon censoring people because they don't like their content and so on. Not going to go into that right now, but they are punishing Patreon for this bad behavior that they see as bad behavior. So they are voluntarily shutting down their Patreon accounts, both Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson. These are two big influencers in the free speech community, like big followings. So in this video, they talk about their audience, and a bunch of people have gone to them saying, look, crypto is the solution. You should host your videos on crypto blockchain platforms. You should use payment processing, crypto. And they have a bunch of reasons why it's not the perfect solution, right? But I get kind of infuriated when I hear these people talk, because I just want to sit down with them. And I'm not sure who's advising them, but I would really, really, really like just to have a private conversation with them, because when they talk, I'm not convinced that they've got a deep enough understanding of it and how to overcome their own objections, right? So basically, they're both leaving Patreon on the 15th of January. They're just shutting down their accounts on block and actively cutting off a ton of money. So Dave Rubin was talking about 50% of the revenue into his business comes from Patreon, and he's giving it up just to punish Patreon. Sam Harris has already left. When Sam Harris left Patreon, he was ranked number 13. He was the 13th biggest account on Patreon. So he was basically Patreon's 13th biggest customer in the world. He had like 9,000 patrons. And he just said, in protest, I'm shutting my Patreon account down and taking that revenue away from Patreon. And now he's taking donations entirely on his own website. So this is heating up. Now, if you followed the Patreon controversy, it sounds like they're under pressure from like MasterCard and Visa, who don't like, people funding certain things. So moving on to that particular video, there's this very interesting quote at 16 minutes and 34 seconds in. Now, I'm just going to play you a very short clip from this video, because this is the key bit. So here we go. I'm going to go over to YouTube here, and I'm going to play this. Ready?
Yeah. All of these things. These are major things that we're trying to figure out on every front. Certain payment processors are a little more willing to stand up to the mob than others. So we're talking to different people. I mean, we're really going on every front here.
That's right. Well, the tentative platform that we're trying to build, and to build carefully, will provide the possibility of multiple payment portals in the hope that the creators will be less susceptible to being rapidly shut down, or perhaps shut down at all. But, only a fool would say that that problem is going to be definitively solved. I have some real and increasing sympathy for the cryptocurrency types, but the problem there is that, as far as I can tell, their solution is still sufficiently technically complex to keep it out of the mainstream use, and also not sufficiently liquid to actually constitute a realistic current replacement, even for credit cards.
Right. So one of the things we've been discussing is...
Okay, so that's basically the clip that I wanted to show you there. So let me come back. So Dave Rubin says, crypto may be the ultimate solution. It's just not a solution tomorrow. And then Jordan Peterson just had a whole bunch of objections there. It's not sufficiently liquid, he said. It's too technically complex and blah, 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 blah. My response to this, and this is what I would say to their face, I said, look, I believe the supporters of these types of people are sufficiently passionate that they would be willing to go through the learning process, to go through the learning curve, if Dave Rubin and Jordan Peterson provided them with guidance. So if Jordan Peterson and Dave Rubin partnered with me, for example, to create just a very simple set of videos that instructed their followers on how to set up a Coinbase account, or how to get some Bitcoin, and then how to send it to them on the regular, well, I believe, even though it isn't as easy as like PayPal, I still believe their followers would be willing to go through that to stretch, and be able to do that. So, don't know. Hopefully, maybe they'll somehow listen to this or hear this and get in contact with me. But it does frustrate me that I think all these problems and these objections are not, they're surmountable. Man, we can overcome them if if you have the will, basically. So if you want to watch that whole video, it's like 30 minutes of them talking about the whole Patreon and payment censorship situation, and it's on Dave Rubin's channel. So that is all I've got for now. You know, Jordan Peterson actually says there that some of the payment processors in crypto are not big fans of certain types of content. But that makes it sound like they don't know about BTC Pay Server and the ability to be set up as their own payment processors. This is what's infuriating to me, is that there are these key gaps in their knowledge that I would love to fill, right? But anyway, that's all I've got for you today. If you like this episode, go ahead, hit the like button. If you really liked it, then please hit that subscribe button. If you want to check out all my other educational resources, such as my structured online courses, I'm actually really proud of the course that's currently in production, which is Crypto Exchange Mastery, where I'm breaking the Binance exchange down bit by bit by bit and explaining in excruciating detail about what everything means, all the numbers, and so on. If you want to get this course, it's available now. It's in production, so as I complete the lessons, I'm adding them to the members area. So head over to cryptoasset.school. If you click on Learn, and then you'll go to this area where it's structured online courses. If you explore the whole curriculum, this is the one. It's Crypto Exchange Mastery. Make crypto trading second nature by mastering exchange mechanics. And I actually use Binance as the example in this course. So there's like 7, I think I'm up to 9 lessons so far that have been completed. And but approximately 1 a day I'm creating and adding to the members area. So this is actually, I'm really pleased with this course so far. And I think it provides huge value to getting more and more people into the crypto space. But that's all I've got for you today. I will be back with the next episode of the Cryptoverse. So until then, it's me, Chris Coney, saying bye for now.